The Golden State Warriors, a team accustomed to success, find themselves in uncharted waters this season. Sitting at a disappointing 12-13 record after a 5-game losing streak, they're struggling to find the rhythm and chemistry that have been hallmarks of their dominance in recent years. Their most recent defeat, a 119-115 loss to the Denver Nuggets on December 3, exposed many of their vulnerabilities. Despite leading by 11 points with just 6 minutes remaining, the Warriors failed to close the game, a pattern that has become increasingly familiar. Even with Stephen Curry delivering strong performances, the Warriors are faltering in key areas, raising concerns about their ability to contend in a competitive Western Conference. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Injuries have been a significant stumbling block for Golden State this season, disrupting both their offense and defense. Stephen Curry has been dealing with knee pain, and while he has been playing through it, his movements lack the usual energy and explosiveness that define his game. Curry, known for his quick cuts and long-range shooting, has still managed to average 22.6 points, 6.6 assists, and 5.6 rebounds this season. However, in recent games, his shooting efficiency has taken a dip, highlighting how even the slightest physical limitation can impact his performance. Draymond Green's absence has arguably been even more detrimental. Green, the defensive anchor and emotional leader of the team, missed the December 3 game against the Nuggets due to a calf injury. Without his presence on the floor, the Warriors' defense looked disorganized and vulnerable. Green's ability to orchestrate plays on offense and provide elite defensive coverage is irreplaceable, and his absence leaves a noticeable void in both leadership and production. Adding to their woes is the loss of DeAnthony Melton, who was expected to bolster the team's depth. Sidelined for the season after knee surgery to repair a partial ACL tear, Melton had been a promising defensive and scoring option off the bench. His absence has left the Warriors scrambling for reliable contributors, exposing the thinness of their roster. The Warriors' defense, typically a strength, has faltered in recent weeks. Over the past 2 weeks, the team has posted a defensive rating of 115.6, placing them among the league's bottom half. Opponents have been able to exploit gaps in their defense, especially from beyond the arc. Golden State ranks among the worst in the league at defending the three-point line, allowing opponents to shoot efficiently from deep. The bench unit has also been a weak link defensively. When the starters take a break, the second unit has struggled to maintain intensity, resulting in opponents capitalizing on easy scoring opportunities. These defensive lapses have put additional pressure on the starting lineup, forcing them to play heavy minutes and shoulder an unsustainable load. Even when Draymond Green returns, the Warriors will need to address systemic issues in their defensive approach. Improving rotations, closing out on shooters, and communicating effectively on switches will be crucial if they hope to regain their defensive edge. While Stephen Curry remains the focal point of the Warriors' offense, his efficiency has been inconsistent of late. Over the last 5 games, Curry has averaged 22.3 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 6.8 assists but has shot just 37.7% from the field and 35.3% from three-point range. These numbers, while respectable, are below his usual elite standards and reflect the challenges he's facing in carrying the offensive burden. Andrew Wiggins, expected to be the team's secondary scorer, has also struggled with consistency. Over the last 5 games, Wiggins has averaged 17 points and 5.4 rebounds but is shooting just 39.1% from the field. Jonathan Kuminga has shown flashes of potential but remains unreliable, shooting just 26.7% from 3. This lack of consistent offensive production from Curry's supporting cast has made it difficult for the team to maintain its high-scoring identity. Golden State's ball movement, another hallmark of their success, has taken a hit. The team is averaging just 25.1 assists per game over the last 5 games, down from their usual 27 to 28 assists. This decline reflects a stagnation in their offense, with too many possessions devolving into isolation plays or forced shots. To regain their offensive rhythm, the Warriors will need to focus on sharing the ball and creating better scoring opportunities. Head coach Steve Kerr has experimented with deep rotations this season, using up to 13 players in some games. While the intention is to keep players fresh and develop younger talent, this approach has disrupted the team's chemistry and rhythm. Key players, including Curry, have expressed the need for more predictable rotations to help players settle into defined roles and build cohesion on the court. The lack of a stable rotation has been particularly evident in crunch-time situations. Players appear unsure of their roles, leading to breakdowns in both offensive execution and defensive coverage. Kerr will need to tighten the rotation and rely more heavily on his core players if the Warriors are to find consistency. Perhaps the most concerning trend for the Warriors is their inability to close out games. In clutch moments, defined as the last 5 minutes of games within 5 points, the Warriors have been abysmal. Over their last 5 games, they rank last in clutch time field goal percentage, 14.3%, and have a negative plus-minus of -5.8. Defensively, they've struggled to make stops when it matters most, allowing opponents to dominate the paint and hit timely shots. These late-game failures were on full display in their loss to Denver, where they allowed the Nuggets to erase an 11-point deficit in just 6 minutes. If the Warriors hope to turn their season around, they must address these late-game issues, both offensively and defensively. The Warriors' struggles are multifaceted, stemming from injuries, defensive lapses, offensive inefficiency, rotational instability, and clutch time failures. While these issues are significant, they are not insurmountable. With a talented roster and a proven coaching staff, Golden State has the tools to bounce back. However, they will need to make adjustments quickly to avoid falling further behind in a highly competitive Western Conference. Tightening rotations, improving defensive fundamentals, and rediscovering their offensive rhythm will be key. The Warriors have weathered adversity before, and if they can address these challenges, they may yet reclaim their place among the NBA's elite. Draymond Green, often referred to as the backbone of the Warriors' defense, is set to miss his second consecutive game due to a lingering calf injury. As Golden State prepares to face the Houston Rockets, there is increasing concern that this injury might keep Green sidelined longer than initially anticipated. With the Warriors sitting at 12-8, and their recent struggles evident in a 5-game losing streak, the timing couldn't be worse. In the latest episode of The Draymond Green Show, the 4-time NBA champion shared candidly about the fears surrounding his current injury. Reflecting on a similar issue he dealt with during the 2021-22 season, which forced him to miss 3 months, Green didn't mince words. "To be 100% honest, I'm a little scared," Green admitted. "But at the same time, I trust our team and feel confident that addressing this now is the smart move while I'm still in the early stages of experiencing symptoms." Green's comments highlight his awareness of the stakes. During the 2021-22 season, he chose to play through discomfort, a decision that worsened the injury and led to an extended absence. This time, however, he's taking a different approach, prioritizing long-term recovery over a quick return. While the Warriors appreciate his caution, the immediate consequences of his absence have been glaringly obvious, particularly in their most recent loss to the Denver Nuggets. Without Green, the Warriors have struggled mightily to maintain their identity on both ends of the court. His absence was most evident in the final moments of the Denver game, where Golden State's defense faltered and turnovers on offense sealed their fate. The Warriors had no answer for Denver's attack, and without Green's leadership and playmaking, they looked disjointed. The 33-year-old veteran not only anchors the team's defensive schemes but also plays a critical role in facilitating the offense. Without him on the floor, the team's cohesion crumbles. Head coach Steve Kerr tried to inject some optimism into the situation when addressing Green's status ahead of Thursday's matchup against Houston. "He's doing well overall," Kerr said, per ESPN's Om Youngmasuk. "I spoke with him yesterday, and he said he's feeling pretty good. My sense is that this won't turn into a long-term issue, but we'll know more after the medical team evaluates him further." While Kerr's comments might offer some reassurance, the uncertainty around Green's recovery timeline leaves a cloud hanging over the Warriors. Adding to Golden State's woes, Stephen Curry will also miss Thursday's game against the Rockets. The superstar point guard is taking the night off to manage his workload and recover from minor injuries. This means the Warriors will be without both their emotional leader and their offensive engine, leaving them short-handed against a Rockets team that has been performing well this season. At 15-7, Houston represents a significant challenge, especially given the Warriors' current slump. The Warriors are desperate to snap their 5-game losing streak, which has seen them fall to the Spurs, Nets, Thunder, Suns, and Nuggets in the span of 2 weeks. These losses have exposed the team's vulnerabilities, particularly in the absence of Green. On defense, they've lacked communication, discipline, and intensity. Offensively, the Warriors have been plagued by turnovers and stagnant ball movement, issues that Green's presence usually helps resolve. For Golden State, Green's absence is more than just losing a player, it's losing their heartbeat. He is the team's emotional leader, the voice that rallies the squad during tough times. His defensive instincts, ability to guard multiple positions, and skill in setting up his teammates on offense make him indispensable. Without him, the Warriors lose not only their defensive anchor but also their rhythm as a team. Stephen Curry's absence only compounds the issue. As the team's leading scorer and primary playmaker, Curry's contributions are irreplaceable. While the Warriors have capable players like Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, and Chris Paul, none can replicate what Curry brings to the table. His ability to stretch defenses with his shooting and create opportunities for his teammates is unparalleled. Missing both Curry and Green at the same time leaves the Warriors in a precarious position, forcing the remaining players to step up in ways they haven't been accustomed to this season. The 5-game losing streak has highlighted several issues for the Warriors, from defensive lapses to offensive inefficiencies. During this stretch, the team has allowed opponents to score at will, with defensive rotations breaking down frequently. Without Green's presence in the paint and his vocal leadership, the Warriors have struggled to contain penetration and protect the rim. On the offensive end, the team has relied too heavily on isolation plays, a departure from the fluid ball movement that has defined their success in the past. Golden State's struggles aren't limited to on-court performance. The mental toll of losing close games and seeing their leaders sidelined has been evident. After the loss to Denver, players and coaches alike expressed frustration at their inability to close out games. The absence of Green and Curry has forced younger players and bench contributors into larger roles, and while some have shown promise, the team's overall execution has suffered. Looking ahead, the Warriors face a tough schedule that doesn't offer much breathing room. They'll need to find a way to stay competitive without their two stars, leaning on veterans like Klay Thompson and Chris Paul to guide the team through this challenging period. Role players like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody will also need to step up, particularly on defense, to help fill the void left by Green. For Golden State, this moment serves as a test of resilience. Injuries are an unfortunate reality in the NBA, and the Warriors are no strangers to adversity. But if they hope to remain in contention in a highly competitive Western Conference, they'll need to find ways to win despite their current challenges. The return of Draymond Green and Stephen Curry is essential, but until then, the Warriors must dig deep and rediscover the identity that has made them champions in the past. As they prepare for Thursday night's game against the Rockets, one thing is clear: the Warriors are facing one of their toughest stretches in recent memory. How they respond could define the trajectory of their season. The Golden State Warriors could soon make a headline-grabbing move on the trade market as they search for solutions to their recent struggles. A name that has entered the conversation is New Orleans Pelicans All-Star Brandon Ingram, whose scoring ability and versatility could provide the spark the Warriors need to turn their season around. While Golden State's front office has yet to make a significant move, analysts and fans alike believe this could change in the coming months. The Warriors began the season with flashes of brilliance, but their recent 5-game losing streak has raised concerns about their ability to remain competitive in a tightly contested Western Conference. This stretch has exposed weaknesses on both ends of the floor, from defensive lapses to inconsistent scoring, particularly when key players like Draymond Green and Stephen Curry are sidelined. The team now sits at a crossroads, with some suggesting they need to act boldly to maximize their championship window while Curry is still playing at an elite level. According to Athlon Sports writer Sviatoslav Rovanchuk, Brandon Ingram could be the kind of player the Warriors target. Ingram is currently averaging 22.9 points per game and remains one of the league's most gifted offensive talents. However, his tenure with the Pelicans seems increasingly uncertain. New Orleans has struggled to find consistency this season, and with Ingram set to become an unrestricted free agent in 2025, the team might choose to move him before the trade deadline to avoid losing him without compensation. For the Warriors, acquiring a proven scorer like Ingram would address one of their most glaring issues: offensive stagnation. While Curry continues to deliver at an MVP caliber level, his supporting cast has been inconsistent. Adding Ingram's scoring prowess, playmaking ability, and positional versatility could help alleviate the offensive burden on Curry and give Golden State the firepower to compete with the league's top teams. A hypothetical trade proposed by Rovanchuk includes sending Jonathan Kuminga, DeAnthony Melton, Kevin Looney, and Gary Payton II to the Pelicans in exchange for Ingram and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. This trade would not only provide the Warriors with another all-star caliber player but also offer the Pelicans a package of young talent, expiring contracts, and financial flexibility. While the specifics of the deal are up for debate, it highlights the potential for both teams to benefit from such an exchange. From Golden State's perspective, Jonathan Kuminga's inclusion in the trade reflects a notable shift in the team's strategy. Once viewed as a future star, Kuminga has struggled to find consistency this season. His diminished production and the Warriors' decision not to extend his rookie contract suggest the team may be re-evaluating his long-term role. For the Pelicans, Kuminga represents a promising prospect who could thrive in a system that prioritizes player development. DeAnthony Melton, another piece of the proposed trade, would give the Pelicans a reliable two-way guard with defensive versatility. Meanwhile, Kevin Looney and Gary Payton II provide veteran experience and expiring contracts, creating financial flexibility for New Orleans to reshape its roster around younger players. On the other side of the equation, the Warriors would receive Brandon Ingram, a proven scorer who has averaged over 20 points per game for 5 consecutive seasons. Known for his ability to create his own shot and contribute as a secondary playmaker, Ingram would fit seamlessly into Golden State's offensive system, which emphasizes ball movement and floor spacing. Additionally, acquiring Jeremiah Robinson-Earl would give the Warriors a young, versatile big man who could add depth to their frontcourt rotation. The timing of this potential trade adds another layer of complexity. Due to trade restrictions tied to Melton's recently signed contract, the deal could not be completed until after December 15th. However, once that date passes, both teams would have the opportunity to engage in serious discussions about the proposed swap. The stakes are particularly high for the Warriors, as their championship window is tied closely to Stephen Curry's prime years. At 36, Curry continues to defy expectations, but time is not on Golden State's side. The franchise must decide whether it is willing to part with assets like Kuminga, Looney, and Payton II in pursuit of another title. The addition of Ingram could be a game-changer, providing Curry and the Warriors with the support needed to compete against powerhouses like the Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns. For the Pelicans, trading Ingram would signal a shift toward rebuilding around younger talent. While Ingram's scoring ability is undeniable, his pending free agency and the team's struggles this season make him a likely candidate for relocation. By securing players like Kuminga and Melton, along with potential draft compensation, New Orleans could position itself for long-term success while avoiding the risk of losing Ingram for nothing in free agency. Critics of the trade argue that Golden State might need to include additional draft picks to sweeten the deal, given Ingram's value as a former All-Star. However, others believe that Kuminga's potential and the financial relief provided by the expiring contracts could be enough to entice the Pelicans. Ultimately, the success of such a trade would depend on both teams' willingness to negotiate and find common ground. This potential blockbuster trade underscores the high stakes of the NBA's trade deadline and the delicate balance teams must strike between short-term success and long-term planning. For the Warriors, the decision to pursue Ingram reflects a commitment to maximizing their championship potential while Stephen Curry remains at the peak of his powers. For the Pelicans, it offers a chance to reset and build for the future around a new core. As the trade deadline approaches, all eyes will be on Golden State and New Orleans to see if these rumors materialize into action. Whether or not this deal comes to fruition, it serves as a reminder of the relentless pursuit of excellence that defines the NBA's elite teams. For the Warriors, a move like this could be the key to reigniting their dynasty and solidifying their place in basketball history.